Stela Taimhotep. Y'all had 3 weeks to read it, so.
Yeah, I don't remember it. I read it a long time ago.
Yeah. By looking at this image, who can really tell me, like, who can tell me what they think a Stela is?
I remember this one. I did read it.
It's Egyptian. It's Egyptian?
Yes, it's Egyptian, but what is it?
It's hieroglyphics.
Yes, that's what's written in.
It's a tablet. It's on stone.
Alright, a stela is basically a tall, narrow slab that is made of wood or stone that usually is inscripted or carved in a relief of names, pictures, designs, and is dedicated to the dead. And basically, it's also a story. Like, Stela Taimhotep means the story of Taimhotep. So it's basically her whole story, her story of her life. In the beginning of it, starts with her roles as a woman, and it ends talking about her death, or her after-death experiences. And stelas were found in ancient Egypt, the Near East, Greece, ancient China, also Maya. And basically they were used for funerary purposes, boundary markers, and commemorative purposes. One example that I can give you of a stela is a Rosetta Stone. I don't know if any of you heard of that. But a Rosetta Stone was used for recording history and important events. Can anybody give me any other examples that it may resemble?
A tombstone?
Not everybody at once. Yeah, exactly. Or a gravestone.
What about those time capsules? Would that something like that? Maybe?
Or what?
Like a time capsule? Like we have one going in that big thing going towards the library. You know when you go upstairs to the library? Here at GPC, and it's like one of those things where we may fill it up with stuff now, information now, and then 10 years from now somebody opens it up. Time capsule, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is acted as a time capsule.
Right.
What's the significance of the Rosetta Stone? There's only one.
Well, the Rosetta Stone is basically a giant stone that was written in 3 different languages that allowed researchers to actually start deciphering the hieroglyphics and come to understand them, because beforehand it was very mysterious. It's a bunch of pictures that don't always make sense.
I've seen it in person. It's way smaller than I thought it was going to be.
Really?
Yeah, it's at the British Museum, and it's not.
Do you have to like use a magnifying glass?
No, it's only maybe 4 or 5 lines for each language. It's really not that big.
But it was crucial because it was the only way that people were able to understand or translate. It was the key to translating hieroglyphics.
Yeah, I really thought it was going to be this big giant thing with alphabets and stuff, and
They
it
were
just.
like, no, we don't have that much to say.
Yeah, it was just it's more go this way to this city, this way to this city, and this way to this city in just 3 different languages. I mean, I was a little disappointed.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, at the top of the stela, to the left of the stela, this is actually Taimhotep right here, and this is all the gods that she worshipped. And so her husband is probably kind of mad because he's not on there anywhere. But all the gods that she worshipped was, forgive me because I can't pronounce some of these, but Sokar, Osiris, Epis, Isis, Napithys, Hasiris, Anubis, and the symbol of the West. And like I said, these were all gods that she worshipped and adored. At the beginning of the story, it talks about which is actually excluded from the text. But I had to go online and research it. Like I said, it talks about her role as a woman. And does anybody know the role of a woman in the Egyptian times?
Probably to birth children. Probably to have kids.
Yeah, and that was her main role. Other roles was everybody was actually kind of equal. So they were based on social classes versus race or gender race or gender. So it's kind of like it is today.
Right, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, so they were kind of ahead of their time.
Yeah.
And
or we're behind time.
or we're behind. More from that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They weren't ahead.
Her main role was to bear a child for her husband, Serentai, so he can inherit all his titles and his achievements. And he was a high priest of the ancient capital, Memphis. And she had 3 children, started off with 3 children, basically were girls. She started going crazy, so she prayed for a God, she prayed to a God, Taimhotep. God, please, I need a boy. I don't do no more with these girls. So her prayers were granted and whatnot, and she named the kid after Taimhotep. And once she had him, she shortly died.
Great.
Yeah, you know how that goes. And in the second part of at the end of the Stela, there we go, that's what it's called. At the end of the Stela, she speaks about her burial or her after death, which kind of confused me, but she spoke. But it was written by her mother, so I'm guessing she kind of spoke for her, something like that. But so yeah, she speaks about her after-death experience and how perfect how perfect her burial was, and how she had the yeah, it was perfect for her to be an effective mummy. Her husband buried her, which was certain time, and yes, an effective mummy.
Not like mother, but
Mummy.
mummy.
Yeah.
She don't Sorry.
She also talks about how she wants her husband to be free and just live and enjoy the rest of his life, even though he's like, without a wife. Yes.
See, when I read that part, I was like, that seems like a man wrote that, you know? Like, first of all, she's dead. So clearly, but it's like, come on, dude. He's like, okay, well, I want to live my life now. I want to do my thing. She's dead. I got my son. So I'm going to pretend like I'm her. And I'm going to wish me to live my life. Like, no. No. Right, exactly. No, I'm not saying he doesn't, but I'm saying, like, for it to come across like she wrote that, or no.
Okay, first of all, we need to think about, here's an important question. Who actually wrote it? Would a pharaoh actually write their own?
No.
They would have scribes.
But clearly,
But it says at the end, on the last line, it's written by someone named Herenkop, and Herenkop.
Was there such a thing as a woman scribe?
Yeah, at the end it says it's written by someone named Herenkop. Last line, and that's her mother. I looked it up, and
and that's probably highly unlikely.
yeah, they're liars.
well, it probably is. But that's what it said.
Maybe it was commissioned by her mother. Maybe it was commissioned by her mother.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, she wanted her husband to live a free life and just to be him. It was like, YOLO. And
YOLO?
YOLO.
YOLO.
And I had a
It
little
was just like
excerpt
that.
from the reading, and it stated, "Oh, my brother," I'm sorry, hold on. "Oh, my brother, in great control of craftsmen, may your heart not tire in drinking and eating, drunkenness and sexual pleasure. Spend a perfect day and follow your heart all the time." So basically, she just wanted him to just, be free and just, love life.
And do not place your finger on her.
Yeah, do you? YOLO.
YOLO.
So, with that being said, he did.
What's up?
And, like, God forbid this happens, but if you were to die, how would you want your significant other to live? Would it be more so like, keep my picture on your nightstand and be like, no more females in this house? Or is it like, do you?
After a certain time.
Keep my nightstand, keep my picture on your nightstand, but do you?
But no,
Why you doing you? Look at me.
Well, in that case, just have a cast of your face made. They just have a mask to put on. That's what she's saying.
Excuse me, order. She also talks about her thirst for water because she's placed in a desert tomb. which is called Whitey. Whitey. I know if somebody here knows.
Why are you looking at all of us like any of us?
Because I know somebody knows. Somebody knows.
Somebody here speaks ancient Egyptian, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's called Whitey. Whitey. Yeah, I understand. But yes, it's pronounced Whitey, and she's located in the desert tomb, and she's talking about her thirst for water and how she feels as if she's not near any water. She wishes that she could be closer because her after-death experience, she don't feel as if she can come back to life like a mummy's supposed to. She feels as if once you're gone, you just in a place of darkness, and that's it. And you don't see your mothers, your fathers, or your wife or husband or children anymore.
Your mothers.
Your
Right.
mother.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I'm teaching right now. But yeah, that's how she felt. She just felt as if, and like now, some people, I don't know, Buddhists, I don't know how they're religious. I mean, religion. You got it. Thank you. Hello. But some people feel as if, they won't come back to life, or they don't believe in heaven and hell. Some people do. So I kind of feel like that's how I tied into religion today. She I don't know, she worshiped gods and everything, but she just didn't feel like she should.
You know what's interesting to me about the image when I was looking at it? It looks to me like they're praising her. You know? Like, because I guess in my mind, like as a god, nobody would really turn their back to you. And in the image,
were considered gods.
right. So like when I would think of a god, I would think, no one's gonna turn their back to me. And everyone pretty much has someone's back to them, and they're all looking toward her.
And she's looking towards them.
So I just thought that was pretty interesting because somebody could have chosen to flip the script and say, well, this is an image of the goddess and these guys are praising her. You know what I mean? If they wanted to.
But her back is not turned towards them either.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
She's
she's like
the
this.
only one who doesn't have
Or like
anyone's
whatever.
back turned.
Well, I mean, they could be in like a straight line. It's just that it's hard to draw like a three-dimensional.
Yeah.
Artistic
But
license.
their head is turned that way. It's not like their head is facing.
Yeah, but they're both facing each other.
You like her head.
They could have done it better.
Well, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It seemed like they all walk into her.
Right,
All right.
exactly.
I actually had a Jeopardy quiz for everybody, but but I had some technical difficulties this morning. Like I kind of realized that it didn't save all of my questions. So, and that's exactly what I said. So, I have a couple of questions to end it with. One of the questions was, how much influence did the ancient Egyptian era have on the present time? Can anyone just opinion if it's not right on that?
I mean, I feel like just based off of the structure of the Stela and how we still use like tombstones today in that same aspect to kind of reflect our loved ones who have died and stuff. Like we may not put as much on there, but we still put like a living mother, a sister, a wife, all that stuff. So I mean, it's still relevant in that way.
Right.
Well, there's two things. One, the Egyptians were the inventor of fried foods, and that's pretty popular these days. But also, in a more serious note, they did have the belief that when you died, that your soul was weighed against a feather, and if it was lighter than a feather, you could ascend on to the afterworld, whereas if it wasn't, you were eaten by this three-headed beast, and you were destined to never make it to the afterlife. And I mean, of course, you got to tie in, of course, Zoroastrianism and a lot of other things into the mass combination that is a lot of our religious beliefs today, but I do believe that probably played in there somewhere.
Okay.
It's the judgment of the soul after life to get into paradise, essentially.
Okay.
When I think of funerals and people who choose not to be cremated and choose to, die in a coffin, I think of ancient Egypt. Because I wonder, where the whole coffin thing came from. And maybe somebody here knows, because I know.
I don't know if it predates Egypt, but that's an interesting point because they had the sarcophagus and they mummified everything. There was a great special on PBS last